welcome to my channel. My name is Erica, and today's video is going to be the makeup of 2022 in review. Now, Angelica Lyremar, she created this tag, I think 2, maybe 3 years ago, and last year she tagged me to do this on my channel. So I did do the makeup in review of 2021, and a subscriber of mine just watched that video, and she commented in the comment section that I should do it again for 2022, and I thought, oh, that's amazing. So thank you so much for giving me such an awesome suggestion. And of course, I will have Angelica's channel linked in my description box. If you guys haven't gone to her channel yet and subscribed, you really should do that. She's one of my favorite creators, and her content is just incredible. So Angelica created 10 questions for this tag, talking about different aspects of makeup that was released in 2022. And because I'm such a huge eyeshadow palette fanatic, I think all of the answers to these questions for me are based on eyeshadow palettes. So let's get started with question number 1, and that is brands I fell in love with in 2022. And I have 3 brands I fell in love with in 2022. And I'm going to start off with Oden's Eye, and this is the Giant Wolves palette that they did in collaboration with Annette's Makeup Corner. And this was the very first palette I used on my channel in 2022. And I just love how it opens like a book. The packaging is incredible, and I love the color story. This is such a unique, fun, different color story. I don't have anything really even close to this in my collection. And I just love the way the shimmers perform. And I got it during the Black Friday sale of 2021. So I know this wasn't released in 2022, but because it was the first palette I used in 2022, that's when I really fell in love with the brand. And I also have this palette from Oden's Eye, and this is the Hella palette that they did in collaboration with Angelica. And this was sent to me from my dear friend Christine Ann. She and I did a palette bingo using this palette. She sent this to me. She had 2 copies of this palette, and she said, you know what, I'd really like to send you one, and then we can do a palette bingo together. And we did. And of course, I will have Christine's channel linked in my description box. She's amazing. That was such a fun collab. So fun to create a look with this palette. I need to use this again. I haven't used it since we did our palette bingo collab, but I have a lot of palettes I got to get through. And I do have a spreadsheet now, so I will be keeping better track of what I'm using and using more things, I hope. But yeah, I love it. I think it's stunning and a really nice addition to my collection. Another brand that I fell absolutely in love with in 2022 is Rock and Roll Beauty. Such a cool US indie brand. They've combined makeup and rock and roll. I mean, that just hits me right in my makeup and rock and roll love and heart. So I do have the Def Leppard palette from the brand. And I used this, I think, twice on my channel last year. And I just think this is an awesome color story. However, at first, I did not think it was an awesome color story. When I first opened up this palette, I thought, this does not really say Def Leppard to me. This says Def Leppard to me. This is their Hysteria album cover. But at first, I just was kind of like, I don't know. But after using this palette, I just fell in love with it. And I really do love the color story now. The quality and the formula is just incredible. Both mattes and shimmers. Really happy that I found this brand. And then I also have the Ozzy Osbourne Bat Palette, and I've used this twice on my channel too. And of course, I'm a huge Ozzy Osbourne fan, so this part of the palette had me at hello, but then the color story also just grabbed my heart. It's so wonderful. I love all the different tones in here. You can do a lot of different things with this palette, and the quality and the formula of this palette is absolutely excellent, and I really do want to get more from this brand. And then another brand that I fell in love with is P. Louise. And my dear friend Danielle sent this palette to me all the way from the UK. And this is the Watch the Queen Conquer palette. And the packaging of this is so cool. You open it up like this, and there's this cool chessboard in here with hearts on it. I love that. And then on this side of the palette, we have pinks and corals and purples. I mean, it's just stunning. And I'm telling you right now, this has become my favorite palette in my collection. The quality is out of this world. The mattes blend themselves, and the shimmers are so vibrant and so dynamic. And then we have this side of the palette, which I think is my favorite. This is more grungy, kind of more earthy, I would say. We've got some golds, and can you see that very well? Golds and oranges and reds and some kind of greeny, like olivey greens. Just amazing. And the first time I used this palette, I just about fell off this chair. And I am so grateful to Danielle for sending this to me. Number 2 is brands that I broke up with in 2022. And it took me a while to come up with an answer for that, because I don't know that I really broke up with any brands, but I will say that I'm not real thrilled with the things that BH Cosmetics came out with in 2022. I know that Makeup Revolution took over that brand, which I wasn't really upset about that, because I really do like Makeup Revolution. But I just really wasn't thrilled with the palettes that BH Cosmetics came out with last year. I don't know. I don't really even remember what they look like. I think there were like, some quads, I think, that were like travel based. And I don't know, they just really didn't do anything for me. I'm sure there are people that really like those quads or those palettes. I think they were quads. But for me, I don't know. I just was kind of like, eh. I haven't tried them, so I can't say that they're not good. I just saw the color stories and the packaging and just, I don't know. It was just kind of lackluster for me, which is a bummer because BH Cosmetics is one of my absolute favorite brands. And it's the first brand, well, maybe the second brand that I tried when I really got into makeup about 4.5, almost 5 years ago now. ColourPop was another brand that I tried first. But I just feel like I'm just not real happy with the direction that BH Cosmetics is going. And that really does break my heart. Number 3 is a makeup product that I'm glad I did not buy in the year of 2022. And I would say the Tartelette in Bloom palette. I did see pictures of it online, and I have seen a few creators use the palette on their channel. And it is a really pretty palette. It really is. But it's just what I already have in my collection. You know, I mean, I have palettes that look very similar to that, or at least could be duped. And it's $52, which I know to some people that may not be very expensive, but to me, that's a more expensive palette. So I don't know, I'm just glad I passed on that. I mean, it is pretty, it's a very nice neutral palette, but just not really necessary in my collection. Number 4 is a makeup product that I am happy that I bought in 2022. And there's 2 palettes that I bought in 2022 that I'm thrilled that I have in my collection. And they're both from Gourmand Girls. The first is the Ethereal palette. This is just mind-blowing. This is all shimmers, multi-chrome, duochrome. They're just impeccable on the eyelids. They do just very fun, magical things to your eyelids. And I picked this up not really knowing what I was gonna think of it. I mean, I'd seen other people use it on their channel, but I don't know. You just never know what you're gonna think of a palette until you actually use it yourself. And I'm just gaga, over the moon over this palette. It's amazing. I've used this, what, 3 times, I think, on my channel now, right? I don't know, my brain did not come with me to this video today, but it's just amazing. Highly recommend picking this up if you don't have it. And then the other Gourmand Girls palette that I have is the C'est L'Amour palette. I picked this up in 2022 as well. I got this for myself for my birthday in July. And this is just a stunning color story. Love the reds in here. I love this black matte. The black matte is probably my favorite black matte that I own in my collection. And this shade right here called We, it's such a cool shade. It flips from pink to like light green. I mean, just wizardry in this palette, or at least in that shade. Love it. So happy that I discovered Gourmand Girls, and of course I want to get all of their palettes too. Number 5 is Overhyped makeup products of 2022. And I would say ColourPop eyeshadow palettes. And I know that they have beautiful eyeshadow palettes, and I am a huge fan of ColourPop, so please don't get me wrong, I love that brand. But in 2022, I just felt like they created a lot of palettes that were kind of duping each other. And they were similar to palettes that I already had in my collection, so I really didn't pick up a lot from ColourPop. I mean, I did pick up, what, the Boston Celtics palette, the Dallas Mavericks palette, and a few more. But I just really felt like so many of them looked similar. And I'm gonna show you an example of that. My dear friend and subscriber, Tiramisu, sent me the Star Wars, the Child palette. And I'm gonna show you this color story here. There's one shade right here that kind of broke apart as it was being shipped over, because I'm pretty sure that the mailmen play soccer with palettes sometimes, but isn't that such a beautiful color story? However, I'm gonna show you another palette that I just used recently on my channel that's very similar to this, and I am gonna be doing a battle of the palettes between these two, and that is the Sage the Day palette. And I just think this looks a lot like the palette I just showed. I mean, there is some subtle differences to it, of course. I mean, it's not exactly the same. Let me open this one up and I'll show it to you next to each other. They'll probably be a little bit easier to really, but I mean, look, they're very similar. Very, very similar. So I don't know. And I felt like they did that a lot. Like there was an Amethyst palette that came out that I felt looked very much like the Lilac You A Lot palette. I don't know, it's just kind of disappointing. And again, I did like a lot of their releases of 2022, but I just felt like so many things looked like so many other things that they had already released. Number 6 is a makeup product that was worth the hype in 2022. And I will say the Melt Cosmetics Amore Mariposas palette. And I did create this eye look today using this palette. And Andy does stuff, she sent this palette to me. And look at this color story. It's incredible. I love all the different tones in here. And the thing that I love the most about it is the quality. The mattes literally blend themselves. The shimmers are so beautiful, apply so easily to the lid. I use this orange shimmer right here, and it's just amazing. It's beautiful. So happy that Andy sent this to me. And this was the first time I'd ever tried Melt Cosmetics. And I was gonna include this in the brands I fell in love with too, but because this, I believe was really worth the hype. That's why I chose it for this question. But yeah, really thrilled with how this performs, and I just think it's gorgeous. And I highly recommend, if you have not checked out Melt Cosmetics, I've heard that some of their palettes don't thrill everybody, but this one absolutely thrilled me. So if you guys haven't checked out Melt Cosmetics yet, I do recommend doing so. Number 7 is the best new indie brand of 2022. And I would have to say Martine Cosmetics. And that's a French indie brand. And I have 2 of their palettes. I have this one right here. This is the 669 palette. Beautiful packaging, very, very lush, very expensive feeling. It's like that velveteen with this cool Martine Cosmetics symbol on the front of it. I love how it opens. I mean, it's a heavy palette. Like it just feels good. It feels really fancy and bougie. And I just love this color story. I love it. It's earthy, it's grungy, it's vampy, it's sexy. I've used this a couple times on my channel too. And I'm just such a huge fan of the formula and the quality. This brand makes gorgeous eyeshadow palettes. I mean, I don't have all of their eyeshadow palettes, but the 2 that I have, I mean, they're just gorgeous. So happy with how every single shade in this palette performs, although I still need to try every single shade in this palette. I haven't done that yet. And I also have this palette. This is the Mission Triple X palette. I've used this before on my channel. This has a really strong magnet. It takes me forever to open that up. I need to get stronger hands. I have teeny hands. Anyway, beautiful color story, very different, very unique. Again, we have this amazing quality and formula. Just thrilled with this brand. And I don't know that they started releasing makeup products in 2022. But it's when I discovered the brand was last year. And so for me, I really believe this is the best indie brand of 2022. Number 8 is the worst makeup products I tried in 2022. And this was kind of tricky for me, a little difficult for me, because I'm very easily pleased with makeup. But I really tried to like rack my brains to think about something that I used last year that I just did not like. And I came up with 2 drugstore eyeshadow palettes. I have this one. This is the L'Oreal Paris. This is the Color Riche Pocket Palette in Violet Amour. And the mattes are okay, but the shimmers, there's 2 shimmers right here. These 2 are mattes. They just did not look nice on my lids. They started out okay, but this one, after about maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes, you just really couldn't see the shimmer anymore. It's like the shimmer just fell off my eyelids. And I did feel like for what I got out of this palette, the price of it was way too much. I just was pretty disappointed in it. And then also I have this one from Maybelline, and this is the Blushed Nudes. And I don't know, I just was not happy with how this performed. I mean, I know they're drugstore palettes, but I have a ton of drugstore palettes in my collection that I love. They're amazing. But these 2 were just the duds in my collection in 2022. Number 9 is one thing I do not want to see in the makeup world in 2023. And I would say overpriced drugstore makeup. And I think that's just where we're headed. I mean, we're already there. But I just see the price tag on some of the products that the drugstore has available now, and I think, why are they so expensive? Especially NYX. NYX used to be a very affordable drugstore brand, and I see their palettes and their other products, and I see how much they cost, and I'm like, what's going on here, NYX? Because I did feel like they were pretty competitive, pretty, you know, kind of middle of the road, not too expensive, but not too cheap. They were just fine, and now I feel like they've kind of up their game a little too much when it comes to the price tag. e.l.f. I feel like has stayed pretty reasonable. You know, I mean, some of their things I think might be more expensive than I think they should be, but I think they're done okay. And Wet n Wild has done a very good job, I believe, of staying affordable. But like Maybelline, L'Oreal, Revlon, Milani even, I just see their products on the drugstore on their little displays or on the shelves or whatever. And I go over and I look at the price tag and I'm like, no way, I'm not doing it. And it just kind of bums me out because that's really where my heart is the drugstore, more affordable makeup products. And when you can't find those anymore, it's a bummer. Number 10, the last question here. What is something that I want to see more of in the makeup world in 2023? And I would say indie brands continuing to kick ass. I love indie brands. So happy that I've discovered so many amazing indie brands through my own devices and also my friends sending me such amazing, beautiful palettes. I just feel so honored and so grateful that these people are so generous and send me such beautiful makeup. But I'm telling you, indie brands is really where it's at. I just think that they put more personal attention into their products, into their packaging. I mean, a lot of these brands will include like little postcards with, you know, like a thank you postcard with your name on it. You know, that means a lot. It does mean a lot to people that are purchasing their products to have that personal touch. And I don't know, I love all these different palettes that I have, their color stories, the formula, the quality, the pack, and everything. It all works so well, and it just really makes me happy to see so many amazing indie brands cropping up and doing so well, and I just hope they continue to kick ass. I would love for you guys to answer these 10 questions in the comment section. I will try to remember to link all the questions or put all the questions in my description box. I forget to do that sometimes, but I'll try to remember to do that because I would love to know what your guys' answers are to these questions, what your favorite makeup products are, brands you fell in love with, brands that you broke up with, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. If you want to answer all of them, I would love that. And I would love to see other creators do this on their channel. Really fun that Angelica created this tag. Angelica truly creates some of the best tags, if not the best tags here on this platform. I've done several of hers on my channel, and I hope to keep continuing doing them because she just does a great job coming up with these awesome questions. And I also really want to thank my subscriber for giving me this awesome suggestion because I hadn't even thought about doing this, and this was so much fun. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your life to sit down and watch this video. If you're new here and you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, smash the like button, and yes, comment down below in the comment section because I'd love to chat with you guys there. And if you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. I really look forward to seeing you guys again in my next video. But in the meantime, please take very good care of yourself. Be well, safe, happy. See you soon. Bye.
Drop it.